Welcome everyone to this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie on September 30th, 2025. We will begin with a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll begin with the roll call.
Okay, good evening, Bill Reuter, First Ward.
Hi, I'm Barbara Laird, representing the Second Ward.
Michael Savone, Fourth Ward, good evening.
Ryan Sharp, Fifth Ward.
Ann Shershin, Sixth Ward. Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Rebecca Edwards, Town Supervisor. So we have really one order of business tonight to present the budget, and at the end, Ann Shershin, the chair of the Budget Committee, is going to talk for a few minutes about the budget process over the next 6 weeks and the timelines and the events that will be coming up. So at the beginning, I move that we suspend the rules for anyone from the public who may wish to speak on the agenda item tonight. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the resolution passes 6-0. So the floor is open for anyone who might want to speak on the item. Doreen, welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I think the budget is easier to read this year than last year. It's about 30 pages less also, and the way it's grouped, it is, I think, easier to follow. The only other comment I have is, if you look at last year's 2025 proposed budget, there were 4 columns for each one: 2023 budget, 2024 budget, 2024 year to date, and 2025 proposed. Now this budget has 2024 actuals and then 2025 budget, 2026 REQ, I guess that's for requested, in 2026 proposed. So it would be, I think, better to have like last year where you would show the 2025 numbers year to date, because then you would have something to base it on.
Yes.
So that's my only other comment.
Thank you. I do have a response, which is that we talked about that, and the comptroller will be doing a presentation on October 22nd with third quarter data that's going to be up to date. And so we felt that would be helpful to the board to see, because we have had a year-to-date column, but it's from early June. And it's hard, it's not telling you as much about spending so far. So we will be able to essentially have the equivalent of that column with the third quarter presentation from the comptroller. So we were gonna try it that way this time.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you. Georgette Martin, welcome.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I just became aware that the town's allowed to hire people below minimum wage, and I was wondering if we did that.
Actually, we do, and I was going to say a little something about that tonight. We have a very few employees. I was shocked to find that municipalities are allowed to pay less than minimum wage, and we have a few employees who are under that. It's crossing guards, and it is a couple of seasonal employees in the rec department. And I'm recommending in the budget that we pay minimum wage for everyone. It's not a large budget impact, and I think, given the cost of living, and some of these are part-time, or they're either part-time or seasonal jobs, I'm recommending that we move to a minimum wage standard for everyone. So thanks.
Okay, I agree with that, and thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Steve, welcome.
Just to expand on Doreen's, which I requested last year, and I think the prior 2-year actuals, not budget, is very helpful. Doesn't matter what was budgeted, it's what did you actually spend in those lines. So look, personally, I would be looking for 23, 24 actuals, 25 budget year to date, and proposed or budget.
Okay, I don't think we have 23, but we do have 24
right,
actual.
Right, but I would like to, I'm going to request it anyway, just so the budget, it just was released this afternoon.
Sure.
I'm going to be requesting, I think that would be helpful to everybody, not just myself.
That's helpful to know. We'll be working over the next few weeks to get all the information that people would like to have.
And getting it before October 22nd, which is a long ways in the process. So the sooner the better,
Okay.
is my request.
The other thing we talked about last year, I think, was clearer headings for each line,
Well,
and we
yeah.
tried to do that, and we also tried in the contracted services line to clarify, like, this is contracted services audit, this is contracted services communication or whatever, so that we can all get a better sense of what's in each line. And honestly, I always stop and think, wait a minute, is the audit under the board or is it under the comptroller, right? So to have that tagged is helpful to understand what's in each line. So we're working to continue to improve that information.
Yeah, and obviously it was just released, so I'll probably have more questions and suggestions later.
That would be great. That's what we're gonna have over the next month and a half, right? That's wonderful. All right, is there anyone else who wanted to speak? Okay, oh, yes, George, welcome. Hi.
Yeah, hi. George Pop, Ward 5. I'm just wondering, I haven't looked at the budget, but is there a way to estimate what our town tax bill will go up based upon this budget? Because I remember I brought up last year that my tax bill went up 6%, and I checked with a friend of mine too, and their tax bill went up 6%. I know the budget increase is 2%. So is there a way by, before we get too far along to say what the tax bill will go up in 2026?
We can. It's complicated because the town pieces include, water. For some people, they include
No, I'm just
sewer
talking
and
about-
not, right? But
What will the town, the line item in
Right.
my tax bill, what will my tax
Right.
bill go up approximately?
right, it's going to be different in the village of Wappingers Falls than it's going to be outside the village, right? So, but we can calculate that. It's just going to be different for people all over
Is
town.
that something you could do in the next few weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, great.
Absolutely.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Bless you. Okay, seeing none, I move that we return to regular session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the resolution carries 6-0. Okay, what I would like to do, because it's a long presentation, and on these mics, I have to lean over to speak into the mic and be heard, and it's not terribly comfortable. I'm gonna go stand there to do a presentation, and then I'll turn these mics off if that's all right, and then come back for any questions and discussion afterwards, so that you folks don't have to move, and you should be able to see on the screens here, okay? Oh, yes, there's that first piece, which is actually the clerk giving us the things. And we did, if people want a binder, we can do that. I'm worried about having it fall in pages everywhere, so we can do binders in my office. And we will have a copy of this in the clerk's office and a printed copy in the supervisor's office for anybody who wants to print it. We did try to make it a little shorter than last year for anybody who wants to print out the whole thing. But we'll see what we can do. So, okay. Yes,
It's available online also?
it is. I'm sorry, it's
This
online.
morning, I think.
It is, as of last night, it was available on the comptroller's page of the town website. So if you go to the town homepage and you go to departments and go to the comptroller, that's where we put the proposed budget.
Save paper.
That's what the more we can say paper, the better. This is a lot of paper. But this, some people like the paper copy, so. Okay, then without further ado, I will head over there. On, and can everybody see? And I will also share this presentation. It contains some slides that are taken directly from the budget, but others are here, and I'll share the presentation right afterwards as well. Can everyone hear? Now? Okay, all right, so I speak a little louder then. Okay, that's great. Okay, first of all, I want to thank everyone very much for being here tonight. I'm gonna just give a big picture overview before we start the conversations over the next few weeks about a lot of the nitty-gritty. I want to especially thank the department heads who put a huge amount of work into thinking about their departmental budgets and worked with me and with the town controller to come up with this budget. I want to thank the town controller, Menal Patel, who has done an incredible amount of work on this budget. I want to thank Emma Consiglio, who's not here tonight, but who is our personnel assistant, who was fantastic on all the numbers related to salaries and health care. And I've been in health insurance. I've been in her office about 17 times a day for the last few weeks to try to get all those numbers straight, retirement benefits and things like that. I want to thank Trevor Reddle, who's been incredibly helpful and not only with grant writing, but also thinking about revenue and all the expenses, and Erica Bushel, who helped us put this in a really incredible form. Last year, we used a little bit of ARPA funds to take what was to me, very difficult to navigate and understand budget from the prior year and turn it into something that had more information in it and was more navigable and legible. And this year we did it without any funds. We did it internally using what we had done last year. So I hope that you like the results. So I want to start by talking about some of the initiatives that we launched in the past 2 years that we're able to build on. We have held the first Town Community Day. We started the Youth Summer Basketball League with the Kingston YMCA. We are continuing to have a twice monthly town hall farm stand with Duchess Outreach. We're now offering residents free recycling for food scraps and for all kinds of textiles at Town Hall and at the Senior Center. And we've adopted a government operations climate action plan, which is the first step toward thinking about different kinds of efficiencies that we can achieve in town government. We restored the Town War Memorial and revived an annual Town Memorial Day ceremony honoring our veterans and especially those who gave their lives for our country. And then we have done a lot of work on housing initiatives, including the creation of the Citizens Committee on Housing Affordability, and worked on projects related to making it easier for people to create accessory units in their homes, the Nesterly Project, Good Cause Eviction, and some other things like that. We created the Citizens Financial Advisory Committee. I have never been more happy about that than tonight, because a lot of those folks are here, and I'm hoping will be helping us actively engage with some of the questions I'm raising tonight and really dig deep to understand the budget and to understand what we can be doing better. I have also worked very hard to improve communication by launching a supervisor's e-newsletter. We put out a resident services guide in March to every household, and I'm recommending that we do that again next year. We know that after the resident services guide came out, participation at the Senior Center jumped dramatically in the weeks that followed. There were more people using the transfer station, and so we know we reached residents to let them know about services they may not have known about. So I would like to do that again, one mailer a year to just give everybody a sense of what the town is doing and what services are available to them. And also working on this more transparent budget document. So if you go look at the budget online, we're continuing to provide some background information, including demographics, a little overview of the town. I meet people all the time who don't know whether they live in the town of Poughkeepsie or the city of Poughkeepsie, or whether they have a postal address that's town of Poughkeepsie, but they're actually in LaGrange. So we've also gone back in the budget to our guiding documents, the comprehensive plan update, the open space plan, and the natural resources inventory, all of which guide us as we put together each annual budget. Ann Shershin is going to speak at the end about the budget process, so I'll be very quick right now, but basically the budget ceases to be mine tonight and becomes everybody's, and we spend the next 6 weeks discussing what amendments the town board might make and what changes the public might recommend. And we will adopt a final budget at our meeting on November 19th. And then submit it. So Ann will talk more about the things that she has planned between now and then. Hi, Ann, welcome. Hi, no worries. And I want to thank all the town board members in advance for the work they're going to do over the next weeks until November 19th as we all wrestle with this budget together. So here are the basics. This budget stays below New York State's 2% tax cap. And I want to start by talking about how hard that is to do. We've done that despite the fact that labor costs are rising 3 to 3.5%. Despite inflation, which is forecast over 2% this year, we're forecasting around 3% by the end of the year, and we're also starting to see tariff impacts. The first one that I saw that had a number on it was that we need a part for our sewer plant centrifuge, which only comes from Germany through our supplier in Wisconsin, and it came with a $2,418.97 surcharge for tariff for having to import that part. So we don't know what's coming up in the year to come, but we know that there are a lot of uncertainties out there. We have stayed below the tax cap despite the fact that we know now that health insurance costs for one of our health insurers, MVP, will be 9.5% next year. I have talked with other municipalities, and that's relatively good. We are also expecting NISHIP to be high. In this budget, we have budgeted health insurance to go up 10%, and we will not know, as always, until November, what NISHIP is going to say about their rates, which impact a large number of our employees. So we are hoping that number comes in the 10% area, or below. That's a very heavy cost to sustain. We are hearing that with Medicaid cuts and other cuts coming up, that's one of the factors, but health insurance, does vary from year to year. We also have, and you'll see it in B9060, if you go look at that line, an adjustment to the town's contribution and retiree health insurance cost, which is a big hit this year. The town board actually voted in December 2024 to make that adjustment to bring us into alignment with state law. We needed to do that. And so we actually were paying that additional cost for retiree health benefits this year, but it's not visible in the budget because we took that vote after the budget had already passed. So this is not a new cost for 2026. It was actually a new cost in 2025, but it's not visible in the budget. We just had to find a way to pay for it as the year went along. Next year, this is the first year we're actually going to see that. And we don't have a choice. This is a state mandate for retirees. It impacts retirees who were 10 to 19 years out from having retired from the town and who are on NISHIP insurance. So you'll see that. So all of these make it challenging to stay under the cap. We've done that by taking a fiscally conservative and defensive approach. You will not see much new spending in this budget. I'll talk about a couple of things that are in here, but they're very small. And we have continued to work to find efficiencies and control costs, and we'll keep doing that. And we also are trying, in order to not cut services, to bring in new revenue streams. I would say also that I want to thank the town comptroller for her work in identifying some lost revenues that we are looking for, particularly in sewer billing, where water and sewer billing are together. We've been pretty consistent, but there's some sewer billing where we have some past due items that were never billed, and so she's working on that, and hopefully that will help us as well to make sure that we're billing for the services that we provide. The goal here is to have the town in the fiscally best possible state that we can get it, to improve our fiscal condition as much as we can, because we need to tackle long-deferred capital projects. And we need to do that in ways that minimize the impact on property taxpayers. So I'm going to spend some time talking about capital projects tonight. I told a couple people in town hall there's a lot of broccoli in this particular budget tonight, and not a whole lot of chocolate cake. There's a lot of broccoli. But we know that we need to build a new police courts facility. We know that is not free. We know that costs. The goal is to try to do it in a way that is least impactful to our property taxpayers. Okay, so just a couple of reminders that I also issued last year, and this goes, I think, to Mr. Pop's question. When you get your property tax bill, it has a lot of different items on it, and we collect county taxes, we collect library district taxes, we collect fire district taxes, and all of those pass through. We don't have control over those budgets. We get told by the commissioners of those other bodies what the budget's going to be, and we collect it and we pass it on. So those are budgets those are on your tax bill. And we broke it down this year so that you can see, this is an example from the Arlington Fire District. You'll find a page in the budget from the Fairview Fire District, and you'll find a page from New Hamburg Volunteer Fire District to get a sense of how it looks. Now, some people are on sewer and some aren't. As I was saying to Mr. Pop's question, every tax bill's a little different, but this gives you a sense of which taxes come to the town and how much of your tax bill goes to the county, to the fire district, to the library district, and if you're on water and sewer also, those are the town portions for that. So only a portion of what we collect, we keep. Okay, so a quick overview and a reminder about our funds. We have a sewer, a water, and a highway fund. What those are for is pretty straightforward. We have a town-wide water district for the whole town. We have 34 sewer districts at the moment, I think. There's a conversation about having a 35th that are serve portions of the town. We have a third of the village of Wappingers Falls in the town of Poughkeepsie. So for those services we provide town-wide, including to the village of Wappingers Falls, or the portion of that village that's in the town, that's Fund A. But the village of Wappingers Falls has its own police and its own planning, zoning, building, and a few other functions. So Fund B is for everything that we provide to everyone who's not in the village of Wappingers Falls. So that makes it a little complicated. We have a Fund A and a Fund B, and they are both, they depend on whether or not the village of Wappingers Falls is included. Okay, these pages are all in the budget itself, and they are just an attempt to give you a snapshot of revenue and where it comes from. About 59% of our revenue comes from property taxes, and the next highest percentages are water meter sales and sales taxes, and then you can see there's a lot of other smaller fees and other sources of income that we get. I spoke last year about the sales tax and how little of the sales tax from the county we get. We are probably, I don't know what percentage of sales tax in the county is collected in the town of Poughkeepsie, but it's a pretty hefty amount because we're really the retail hub for the county as a whole. But only 1.7% of what the county collects in sales taxes comes to us. Counties can choose to do that in different ways. So it's about 8.1% of our budget, but it's a very, very small fraction of what the county collects. And of course, we provide the public safety, the roads, the water, the sewer, and everything for that retail infrastructure. The next is our proposed expenditures by service area. This gives you a sense of roughly where the money goes. Roughly 10, maybe close to 11% goes to the general government functions of assessor, clerk, tax collector, having our town board, and so forth. Overwhelmingly, we provide public safety services, we provide highway, water, and sewer. We spend about 2.6% of our budget on parks and recreation, and I went and did some research and found that the average in New York is 2.9. And I'm wondering whether over time, maybe we might be able to move toward paying a little bit, maybe if the pie is a little larger, we could try to move to be up to the average, at least, in what we devote to parks and recreation. This is by department. Again, this is in the budget online, and we can get you a printed version, and I will circulate this presentation as well, so you can just get a sense of department by department where the expenses lie. I will say that there is very little new spending in this budget. The things I would note are that I am proposing a second IT position at Town Hall. After a lengthy conversation over the last year and a half about information technology and computer needs, Tim, who's with us, does a lot. But given the increasing cybersecurity threats and scams and frauds we're facing, we have had multiple phishing attempts. We are having people in the community, businesses, vendors, receive emails that look like they come from the town and don't. In addition to being a pretty big workplace with a lot of needs, I feel strongly that we need a second IT professional. And that's something for the board to talk about over the next month and a half, but I am proposing that new position. We did an IT audit, which all of us have seen. We weighed the possibility of doing more IT by with use of consultants outside of town hall, but it seems like a second IT position is best. Oh, the other thing I would mention is that the courts have now been told that they must legally allow for remote appearances. So we have yet another additional IT need in the courts where we are going to need to maintain access for them to have people appear remotely. I did recommend, as mentioned earlier, that we bring up a few employees who are not making minimum wage. It's a pretty small budgetary impact. It's school crossing guards, and it is a couple of seasonal positions in the recreation department, but I feel strongly that we ought to be paying minimum wage. I believe there are and there is a highway mechanic position, which I believe will help us do more in-house for the water, sewer, and highway departments in handling diesel trucks, some of the bigger trucks in particular. We've been shorthanded. So there's that, and I believe there's a couple of other issues the board was going to be discussing in terms of salary positions over the next few weeks. One of them is that today was the last day at Town Hall of our deputy assessor, who has moved to become the assessor in the town of Marlborough. And after some conversation with the comptroller, with the assessor, with Kyle Barnett, who represents us in tax cert cases, and with other folks, I'm going to be suggesting that the board move toward handling our commercial assessment in a different way, doing the residential in-house, but potentially having a one-time commercial review of our commercial assessments. And I think over the next month, the board's going to need to weigh that. The budget reflects that. It reflects the reduction in the assessor's office of a 1/2 position going forward. But that's something the board's going to need to debate whether that's how they want to handle it or not. Okay. Let's talk about capital projects a little bit. The largest capital project by far that's facing us, and a very urgent priority, is a new police courts facility. There's a clipping here that's a town resident gave me from 1999, which shows that as early as 1999, the town knew that the police and courts facility had some issues being on an uncapped landfill and was having some warping issues. So it is definitely high time to move the police and courts into a better facility. The current one is structurally safe. We did a study last year, but it is time to move. I believe that we've reached the point in the conversation to say that the current town hall site where we're standing right now is the best place for the police to go. The question is whether we can fit both police and courts on this site, which would be highly desirable for everyone. The courts and the police would like to be together. There are a lot of efficiencies in having them co-located. And so what I would like to do is suggest a very tentative timeline here. The Police and Courts Committee is going to meet a couple of times over the next few weeks. And by late October, by the October 22nd meeting, I would like to bring back, I hope, some more specifics when we have plans from Labella. Parking is the biggest issue. And we're really wrestling with how we can handle the parking here. We've been in conversation with the Elks next door about the possibility of sharing parking with them. And I think that's going to be an ongoing conversation as well. That's our first priority project. Obviously, if the police move here, potentially police and courts, town hall needs to move elsewhere. We can't all fit here. And so my recommendation right at the moment, subject to board discussion and public discussion, is that the town hall perhaps move into rental space for maybe a 5-year period in order to give us time to really reflect and carefully consider where we want town hall to be, and potentially to go after some properties that would be desirable for town hall. There's been a lot of conversation about the future of a potential indoor recreation center or a pool. A site that might make that possible would be great. I don't know if that's possible or yet or not, and that might end up being 2 different sites. But in any case, I want us to have a further conversation about that by late October. Okay, 4 other areas in which we also have capital projects, and I'm a little worried about everybody sort of just kind of being overwhelmed by the weight of all these projects. I know CFAC, the Citizens Financial Advisory Committee, we already looked at a long list of capital projects that have been deferred. But I'm just going to go through these quickly, and then our challenge is to think about them all together. First of all, we need a new highway bond. We bond regularly to keep paving the roads, and it's time for a new one to keep the roads, in good condition. We also need 2 water tanks, and we just recently worked with the EPA to review those tanks and to look at the needs both at Cedar Avenue and Route 44. So I think both of these are projects for which we would need to bond. We can bond them together, and so that's one of our things that we need to look at for 2026. My recommendation after talking with Andy Learn, the town engineer, and Con Colgan in the water department would be that we go ahead and work to get on the list for low-interest loans from the state, as well as grants where we can find them, but most likely pay ourselves for the Cedar Avenue work. And then we think we can put together a very strong grant application for the 44 tank next year. And that's, I don't want to get too into the weeds, but we can talk more about why I think that would be a very strong grant, and move forward with all of these. This is our water supply. And as you can tell from the picture on the right, the tanks are not in great shape. And we need to protect our water supply. And so this is a deferred project that can't wait much longer. I'm going to talk a little bit about sewer. The sewer department has almost half of its pumps are over 40 years old, 47%. 22% of its pumps are over 60 years old, and this is a picture of one of them. It's the Three Partners pump station. I don't know if you can see, but there's a ladder. Guys, go down in there to fix it. I've given some examples here of some of our pumps that are from 1960, from the 1960s. The oldest pump we've got is 1959. It's the Spack and Kill pump. That is now out to bid. It smells bad, really bad, and it's out to bid now to fix it. The town was under a consent order from the DEC for that in 2015, and we're finally now got grant money and we're getting it done as expeditiously. But if we move at that pace with the other pumps, we're going to start having some very serious problems. So we need to move more quickly. And what I'm proposing is that through our sewer revenues each year, we try to get 1 pump replaced each year. They run $350,000, $400,000 to replace a pump. Try to do 1 a year, and then continually seek grant money in order to see if we can accelerate that pace. But we need to replace these. It's just not a good situation. Right now we're working on Spack and Kill. That's out to bid. That long-standing problem will be resolved soon. We have funding for the North Grand to be replaced. We have a grant pending for the Three Partners, which is this one right here that I just showed you. And we have Sun Lane is in the design phase. The exciting thing about that one is it can be replaced. It doesn't need to be replaced, actually. All we need to do is remove it, and we can run on gravity in that area with a newer pump. One of the things that interests me is that I've been talking with Jim Bynum about what happens when you replace a sewer pump, and we think our electricity use at that pump may be dropping by 70%. But we need to see the whole year round because these pumps are very seasonal in terms of how much load they carry to see. But there's definite savings to the town when we update a pump, as well as obviously much better operation. I'm just going to very briefly warn everybody that I'm going to spend a lot of time in 2026 talking about sewer plants. We have 3. Our capital situation is complicated in addition to our own infrastructure by the fact that we are actually part of 4 different intermunicipal partnerships. One is the joint water plant, with the city of Poughkeepsie, which we in the city of Poughkeepsie work with. We have, our main town sewer plant is on Sand Dock Road, and we have Veolia operating that for us. But then we also contribute flow to the tri-municipal, in Ward 1, Councilmember Reuter serves on that board, and we co-own that sewer plant with the village of Wappingers Falls, and the town of Wappinger is a tenant on that system, a very substantial tenant. We also have a partnership with the city of Poughkeepsie for the pollution control plant that's right just south of Marist College, also operated by Veolia. In town Ward 4 areas, our town Ward 4 areas contribute from Fairview into that pump about 15%, that plant contribute about 15% of flow. I will just say one fun fact, which is that when we get sewage sludge from the main town plant and the pollution control plant, as solid as we can get it, we put it in trucks. This is what happens to our sewage sludge. We put it in trucks, we ship it to Naugatuck, Connecticut, and it's incinerated there. It costs us over $20,000 a month. And that really bothers me. And I think we should be thinking about whether there are more efficient ways to handle sewage waste. And we need to really grapple with these sewer plants as essential parts of our infrastructure, which are sometimes a little bit hidden, particularly the joint partnerships, because they're not actually directly under our aegis. We are in partnership with other municipalities, but they're a really important part of what we do. They are under stress because a torrential rainstorm, an extreme storm, with a lot of people having their sump pumps tied to these systems or their roof drains or whatever, overwhelms these sewer plants. And in a serious, heavy storm, they cannot handle the flow. It's mostly clean water flow because it's, gushing into the sanitary sewer system, but they will overflow into the Hudson. So we are, on occasion, dumping partly treated or raw sewage into the Hudson. Happens up and down the river, right? It's not just our problem. Report it to the DEC, but there's a set of issues there that I think we should be thinking about a lot. I've warned you, there's a lot of broccoli here and not a lot of chocolate dessert. These are serious questions that I think we ought to be thinking about. Okay. Last but not least, we have tried twice to get a grant for our priority sidewalk project, which is sidewalks or a shared use path along Spacking Hill Road, which is an area where kids walk from Todd Middle School up to the high school, and where it's a little highway that was built for IBM back in the day, and traffic there is very fast. We have not gotten a grant yet. We need to keep trying to get that funded. And we may also want to identify other grant opportunities to create more walkable and bikeable connections. And there's been enough conversation around this year that we've been talking recently about the fact that the comprehensive plan update in 2021 recommended that the town consider doing a townwide pedestrian and bicycle plan. So we might want to be thinking about that comprehensively. Where is it that we want to try to make the town more connected and make our neighborhoods more walkable and bikeable? Okay. We have to do all that without affecting our credit rating. So this is the moment where I sort of say this is a shared problem. These are not sort of, vanity projects here. This is the crucial work of how we serve our community and keep our infrastructure going together. And all of us need to think about how much can we take on, what can we borrow, how can we lessen the impact on taxpayers, what should we be doing in 26 and 27 as we work toward a long-term capital plan. I think ultimately we want is a 5-year capital plan. There's so many deferred projects that it's almost hard to put that together. We're just going to try to start with the main projects and keep working on the plan. Okay, I'm going to talk now about a few strategic priorities, 7 strategic priorities for next year. Given where we are, none of these are big spending proposals. These are all about using, to a large degree, what we have and using it efficiently and effectively, or finding new grant sources. First priority, public safety. We do have in the budget some additional traffic safety equipment for town police. The number one complaint I hear in my office is about speeding and reckless driving. And the town police traffic division is doing an incredible job. They need more resources. They need more help as we all deal with a lot of reckless driving out there and a lot of speeding, and we want to keep our neighborhoods safe. We have been working to hire a People USA peer counselor to ride with the town police. There are some complications that we're bringing to the board next month to talk about how we're funding that, what funds we have available. This is funded through our opioid settlement funds, which are designated for use for helping people who are dealing with substance use disorders or with mental health issues. And so those designated funds are sitting there waiting for us to make the stars align and get this to happen, and we want to work on it. And last but not least, I would suggest that we now have in place social media, we have communications, we have a good website, we have e-newsletters and things, and we can begin doing some regular public safety and health campaigns with community partners. And I would suggest that some places we might want to start are with mental health, with scam protection and fraud protection, and with cannabis safety. And all of those are topics where we could easily borrow things from other organizations and say, okay, quarterly we're going to pick a topic and we're really going to get the word out there and try to reach people through maybe events and also through our media channels to increase public safety and make sure people know about the resources that are available. Okay, strategic priority number 2 is improving our customer service in water and sewer billing. The board made some investments in our American Rescue Plan funds, in software upgrades, and in technology upgrades, and in 2026, those are going to come to fruition. We hope in 2026, sometime in 2026, everyone, when your bill is mailed, will be able, if you choose to opt in, to get an email or a text notification. So if your bill gets lost in the mail, you will nonetheless know, hey, here's your bill, you can connect to it online and see it. For those folks like me who would really like to set it and forget it, we will also have an auto pay option, so that you can just set it on auto pay. And also, the water department has been working very hard to implement a FlexNet system, which is going to monitor water use. So if in your house, let's say you're retired and you spend 2 months in Florida in the winter and a pipe bursts, rather than waiting to see that on your bill after it has been flooding your house for a long time, we will be able to monitor unusual use patterns and send an alert. And that can also be by mail or by email or by text, so that people can address leaks earlier and see, the town can say, hey, we don't know what's going on at your house, but we see an unusual use pattern, we see a spike, and you might want to check it out and give people an alert more quickly. All of those, I think, are going to be very beneficial to our water and sewer customers. Okay, number 3, we're moving forward with the Brownfields Initiative, and this uses the $252,000 grant we got from New York State to address what I think everybody here knows as the former Kmart site, or Duchess Plaza, which is right over here, and to bring together stakeholders, landowners, tenants, neighbors, community members, to envision a future for that site. We are convening a steering committee this fall. We're looking for people who may be interested to serve. So we set a deadline of this Friday. If you know people who would like to potentially serve on that steering committee, that would be amazing. We'll, over the next week or so, we'll be putting out the word again. And that committee will be able to hire a consultant who will help us lead through this process. So you can look for public meetings, and there are a number of challenges over there. It needs remediation. We need to make sure that toxic wastes aren't seeping into the Casperkill. We also need to figure out whether things can be built over there, or whether on an uncapped landfill there are other approaches to what to do with that land. The town does not own that property. We own the police and courts building on the very back side of it, but we don't own the front parcels. So there's a long conversation there about how we want to handle that. Okay, number 4, I want to thank the members of the Climate Smart Task Force who have been very dedicated in getting the town to the bronze level. And their goal this winter is to apply for silver status through the New York State Climate Smart Communities program. That opens us to the possibility of more grants when we reach that level. And we do it by taking additional actions that help us reduce our climate footprint. The priority areas are for improving energy efficiency in our town operations. That certainly includes any buildings that we're planning to renovate or build, and also resilience and resident protection. There's a group of people very interested in creating neighborhood emergency hubs. And the town of Poughkeepsie Police have, in their community room, suggested that maybe that might be the first site we might be able to, because there's a generator there, and if there was an extended power outage or an extreme storm, people could go there to, there's a refrigerator where they could put medications. They could recharge their phones. You could get information. You could, if we need to, distribute water and food. And if we had several such sites around town, people would have a place they know they can go where there's a generator and they know they can get support. So that's a long-term project, but one that I think the Climate Smart Community Task Force and some other community members for Billing wanting to take on. We also are going to continue our flood mitigation plan in New Hamburg, which is the part of the town that floods most often and most dramatically. Okay, number 5, working to support local businesses. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to go to the Stanley Still Farmers Market on a Monday night. I am told that they have the best peaches in town, so I'm really sad not to have gotten there yet. And I might have missed the peaches by now. But they are thriving, and it's a really wonderful opportunity to support local businesses, and we want to do more of that in a Buy Local, Buy Green campaign that encourages people where they can not to go to Amazon, but to help our local businesses here that support our own, Little League teams and our civic activities and our charities here and our own neighbors. So we're going to be working on that in 2026. And 2 more, which are related. The first is to continue the work we've been doing to expand our parks, trails, and green spaces. And again, I want to emphasize how much we're trying to do with how little, right? We're trying to do a lot with a little. And I particularly want to thank Mike Welty, the Director of Municipal Development, who has worked tirelessly on the acquisition of the North 100, which is a parcel that belongs to IBM. It's just north of IBM's main plant. This is one of our first looks at it. Thank you to Kristen Taylor of the Planning Department, who went on a site visit and took pictures. It's on a bluff overlooking the Hudson, and we would be preserving it as a passive use park that would be for trails, picnicking, woodland preservation, for permanent protection of that river site. So look for a public meeting coming up in mid-October to talk about that site, and it's particularly exciting because we're purchasing this for $1.1 million from IBM. $300,000 of that is a state grant, $200,000 is a federal grant, and $500,000 is from our incredible community partner, Scenic Hudson, which is matching that $500,000. So the town is paying $100,000 total for that property. And then we're going to turn right around and begin grant writing for trail creation and things like that in the park. There are a lot of great organizations that support that. So hopefully, one of the things the board needs to do is think about the long-term maintenance of these kinds of spaces. But Mike has done an incredible job of working toward bringing that in the door. We also have the possibility of adding the Reese Audubon Preserve and a Scenic Hudson parcel to our New Hamburg Park to create the New Hamburg Park and Reese Woodland Preserve. That one of those properties was deeded to the Putnam Audubon Society, which is a whole county away, and it's a struggle for them to take care of it as a volunteer organization. And so that's another woodland park that provides walking trails, a great place for people to walk their dogs, to bird watch, to enjoy wildlife and find a quiet and peace in nature. We're seeking a grant right now for the design phase of an expansion of Sunnyside Park with a woodland trail and a little bit of a boardwalk there so that many more residents of Ward 2 can access that park on foot rather than having to get in the car and drive all the way around Vassar Road. It will be accessible to more residents. And the town has some wetland properties there that we can add to the park. And we're going to use this year is our last year to use the remaining American Rescue Plan funds for continued revitalization of our other parks. And I'm going to say just a little bit more about that on the almost very last slide. So Nate Smith, our Recreation and Parks Director, I know a number of different board members have talked about what a great job he is doing. We hope to do the free youth summer basketball league again. The grant is pending for that. We just started the Memory Cafe, and they are expanding senior center programs of different types. And I'm proud to announce a couple of things that are new. We are going to be offering our first aquatics classes in a really long time at Springside Pool, which is an indoor pool, so we can do this year-round on Fridays. It's the British Swim School, but as board members will remember, as we negotiated a pilot for that property, we asked for the town to be able to have some use of that for affordable classes. So we're going to be starting, it's actually, I think the Parks and the Recreation Department put it up today for people to apply for parent-child swim lessons for very small kids. And we're hoping to add a senior aquatics, aqua aerobics in the next few months on Fridays. It's not a pool. We don't have our own pool yet, but it's the first time since the town used to share the city park, Spratt Park pool, that we've been able to offer anything that's a swim program. So we have a couple of classes that will be offered, I think, for $10, so keeping them relatively affordable for people. And last but not least, there's a pilot program in late afternoon at the senior center starting next week. It actually has a new name now. It was originally Nutritious and Delicious, but now it's called the Dutchess Youth Kitchen, and it's a program with the Department of Health, Dutchess County, and Poughkeepsie Farm Project. And so students, middle school students from a couple of different schools for 4 Tuesday afternoons are going to come to senior center in the late afternoon, get a bunch of local produce and food, and cook something to take home for dinner for their families. And it'll get a chance for middle schoolers from different schools to meet each other, to learn about nutrition, to learn about local produce. The Commissioner of Health, Olivia Santiago, says that she, until she was an adult, she never knew things like, what do you do with a pineapple, right? If you just have a whole pineapple, right? So we're gonna give kids a chance to really engage with fresh food and learn a little bit of cooking. And the senior center we're making that space available for that program to happen. And very last thing, last night we had a meeting at the park, at Greenvale Park, and we have about a dozen people who are interested in helping form a nonprofit on the model of the very successful Friends of Peach Hill Park that would be called something like Friends of Town of Poughkeepsie Parks. That would be an umbrella organization that would enable the town to raise funds for a variety of different projects in the parks. We can't, as a municipality, go out and seek sponsorships ourselves. But if there's a nonprofit that can do that, they can post a wish list, talk about what kinds of things are needed. And what was really exciting about last night was that this was also a group of people from the community who are passionately interested in bike trails, in finding a place for their kids to run around in the wintertime, indoor space. There was a mom with a 1-year-old, a very wiggly 1-year-old, who's very, very interested in indoor space for toddlers in the wintertime. A bike pump track, community gardens, opportunities for habitat restoration. There was a range of interests. And that, to me, is what town government is all about, bringing a group of people together who begin to imagine what kinds of things might be possible and how they might play a role in bringing those about. So as we seek new revenue streams, that's one possibility, is to have a nonprofit that is in conversation with the town rec department and helps us raise money for things like summer camp scholarships and summer camp field trips. And other kinds of things that would help families in our community enjoy all the opportunities the area has to offer. So I'm going to just stop here. This is a picture of Creekside Park, which is one of my new favorites. And I wanted to just say thank you, everybody. I hope that there are some big themes here that will guide us in the coming year. And I look forward to the conversation about all the nitty-gritty that's going to take place over the next 4 or 6 weeks as we dig into the details. I also just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone who works for the town of Poughkeepsie. If you see our police officers out on duty, if you see our highway and water and sewer employees, our building and fire inspectors, our zoning enforcement officers, or when you come to town hall, to the clerk's office, to the assessor's office, I'm just immensely proud of the work that people who work for the town of Poughkeepsie do day in and day out, with incredible dedication and integrity. And it's been a pleasure to work with all the department heads in putting this budget presentation together, as we hopefully plan for a successful 2026. Thank you very much. I'm going to sit down, but I'm going to leave this slide up so that Ann Shershin can talk a little bit about what happens between now and the November 15th. And I'm going to turn off this microphone too. Thank you all. Which is better, sitting here or sitting out there, like we did last year?
Sitting here's fine.
Sitting here, okay.
Okay. So hi, everyone, and thank you, Rebecca. That was a really interesting presentation. So like Rebecca said, now it's handed off to the hands of the Budget Committee, which is Barbara Laird and Ann Berger and myself. So we're going to be going through the budget, seeing if there's anything we can see in there that we could save some money, make some adjustments with. We're going to be reaching out to all the department heads if anybody's concerned or have something they would like to see changed about their budget. We'll talk with them and see if there's anything we can do to adjust things. And also we want to create more opportunities for the public to interact with us and engage, bring their concerns, bring their questions to us, and do the best we can to answer them. So this time we're going to have 3 more public meetings coming out from here. The first one is going to be during the Citizens Finance Committee. A lot of you are here tonight, which is Tuesday, October 14th at 5:30. We're going to set it up to also be a Zoom meeting so people can Zoom in or people can join us in the room, and we'll talk about the budget and see what the public has any concerns, anything they want to talk about
Is
that.
that the 14th or the 15th?
I thought it was Tuesday the 14th.
Tuesday the 14th, okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Good.
the 15th.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I thought the email you sent along, everybody on the committee did not like that idea because we have business to do, so having it on a different day.
I was told the majority liked it.
Oh,
If
well,
you look at the emails, nobody.
sorry. I think that the committee would like to meet on the original date, which was what?
14th.
The 14th,
Oh,
right?
so then it's the 15th, so it's the Wednesday night after that. That's fine.
Oh, you would prefer to meet on the 15th or on the 14th?
No, the committee will meet on.
14th.
Right,
The committee meets on the 14th, like it was planned.
exactly. I think,
Other meetings are
I think we
public
had a
meetings.
miscommunication.
okay.
Public meetings
All right,
should be
so, yeah, I thought we were confirming that date, October 14th, as the meet, when CFAC was gonna meet as well.
That's what they mean.
Right.
Okay, fine. We're gonna meet the next night on the 15th.
Okay.
Wednesday, which be like our regular meeting at 7 PM, and we'll have it
Okay.
set up for Zoom and everything else. And you're welcome to join us, so let me change that.
Okay.
And
So
then,
so there'll be a public workshop, not a town board meeting, but a public
Public
conversation
conversation.
around the budget on October 15th at 7 PM
at
here.
7 o'clock PM.
The day after CFAC meets.
Our meeting on the 14th was scheduled for 5, not 5:30.
Oh, I
Right.
was told.
Okay, so CFAC, just to repeat, the Citizens Financial Advisory Committee is gonna meet on October 14th at 5 PM here.
Yep.
That's a public meeting for anybody who wants to join that conversation. And then there will be an additional public meeting about the budget here on October 15th
the
at
next-
7
no.
PM.
Yep, that's fine.
That's Wednesday.
Which is Wednesday. Okay, and then.
This is not a regular board meeting.
No, there's
So
no
this
board
is-
meeting scheduled that night,
Yep,
so this will
Okay.
just be an extra public workshop meeting. Okay, then the next week, on Wednesday, October 22nd, is a regular town board meeting.
Could I get back up? Excuse me for a second. Rebecca, you said that the CFAC meeting on the 14th is open to the public?
I believe as a committee member, as a committee, most of the town committees are open, you know, we advertise those as being, if there's other members of the public who'd like to join, they can do so.
I just
So-
never had,
Right.
Okay,
Just-
so
Just
then,
clarify, Supervisor, it's open to the public, but not Zoom access.
That's right,
Okay.
exactly, right. The group has chosen to meet, in person.
Yeah.
And anyone who wanted to come in, it'll be on the town calendar. But it's not a big sort of, hey, everybody from the public come in, but that'll be the next night. So.
But the one on Wednesday will have Zoom access, so, and it'll be here. Okay, then
Okay.
the next public meeting is during the regular board meeting, Wednesday, October 22nd at 7:00 PM. So that'll be our regular public hearing for the budget. And then the next day at the senior center, so that'll be Thursday, October 23rd at noon. Rebecca will be presenting the budget and I will be there too. For anybody who can come out, we'll discuss with the seniors and anybody else who's available at noon on Thursday, and we'll have pizza afterwards, so. And then it's on to,
November 19th will be the town board's, any final adjustments
Right.
the town board wants to make at our next meeting,
yep,
so.
and
Okay,
then it's on to the vote in November.
right, which is November 19th, okay? All right, and obviously on the October 8th board meeting and the, first, I think we have a November 5th board meeting, people can comment on the budget at any time as part of the regular proceedings of the board. Okay, anything further? Any questions from the board? Then I would move that we suspend the rules for anybody who wants to speak to us on any issue.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the resolution passes 7-0. Anyone who would like to speak? Let's start with folks who are in the room, if there's anyone who would like to speak. Yes, welcome. If you want to come up to the mic and,
No,
The-
I can speak pretty well.
okay.
The Spack and Kill sewage plant upgrade, it's out to bid. Do you have an idea of when that would be completed? Because it kind of basically smells like every time we pull into our neighborhood, and it's really not what we pay taxes for.
I don't know if we can finish it this fall. I think that's the hope, and that's the question. But if you give me your email, I'll try to find out what they think. I know we put it out to bid several weeks ago, so I'm guessing we're at the point of potentially bringing it to the board at the next meeting or one of the next couple of meetings to ratify the contract and move it forward, which would mean we could get it done this fall.
So out to bid means we're looking at maybe end of October,
Right.
Awarding
Uh,
the bid,
That's what I think, but I need to check.
and then work starts at that point.
Well, one of the things that we'd be evaluating is how quickly are they planning to come and what's their timeline in addition to cost and other factors. So let me find out where that stands and let you know. If you want to give me your email address, I can give you an update.
Yeah, and this is really a substantial project. They're actually going to be relocating it. So it's going to be taken out where it's actually a wetlands. It's in the floodplain now. It's going to be taken out and moved behind it, back onto town property, behind our water plant there.
Behind the water plant, meaning
Up the hill.
basically will be moved
Cedar Ave.
like 400, 500 yards northwest.
I think it's moving about 150 to 200 yards just up the hill.
Up the hill.
It's not moving very far, but
It's not over Spack and Kill Road, on the other side of Spack and Kill Road?
no, it's on the same side of the road.
Yeah.
And that's, just to be clear, it's on the south side right now?
No, it's on the north
of
side.
Speck.
Because the smell is on the south side.
Well,
It
smells.
may be, the pump is on the north side. If you go along there and the Latter-day Saints Church is on your left, right, and you come down there toward Millbank, it's on the right-hand side.
It's that little house that's set right off the
Yeah.
road.
It's a little brick house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes odors linger and they tend to travel and collect in low-lying areas, so, yeah.
Oh, so the sewer gas is coming out and sort of rolling down the hill and collecting at that low area.
Right.
And that's why every time I drive into my house,
That may be.
it's,
I'll see what I can get, and we'll see what information I
Yeah,
can
we
get.
need your
Right.
address
So-
too, to make sure there's nothing else funky going on in that area
good.
too.
Yeah. Anybody else?
it's, right there.
Anybody else who's in the room, or we'll get back to you. Anybody else in the room or anybody else who's online? Yes, Doreen, welcome.
Okay, thank you. So as part of the question that George Pop asked before, I just happened to have a copy of the 2011 tentative budget. And as part of that
2011?
presentation, 2011, yes. And as part of that presentation, the comptroller did a very clear comparison, and he compared the tax rate and the assessed value from year 2010 to the tax rate and assessed value of 2011. So this way it was like I said, a fair comparison. And then he said what the average house would have been in 2010 and then what it would be in 2011. So you can easily see, in this case, your taxes went up about $57 for the year. So I could pass this along, something like that may be helpful so people can just easily see how much their tax bill could potentially increase.
That'd be great. If you could send it, I'll take a look because I don't have that. That 2011 is a while back and I don't have that, so it would be good to see.
I think I have a copy in my
Oh,
office.
great. The clerk may have it, but it would be great to see. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Kelly, welcome.
Great, thank you very much. I just wanted to comment that I'm really appreciative of the work for all of these infrastructure issues, and it seems like there's a lot of stuff that's been around for a while that's finally being dealt with, and I really appreciate that. And I also appreciate that we have a supervisor who thinks that sewage issues are fun facts. So thank you, Rebecca, for that. And I just love the image and the proposals for the future. I think that this is really a very wonderful vision for the future, and I really appreciate it, and also for presenting a very clear and concise presentation for the budget. And it's shocking to me that you can keep this under the 2% tax cap. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I am very grateful to give the budget over to everybody to think about because these capital projects, it's a lot, and it's a lot for us to all digest and think about together. So thank you. Georgette, welcome.
Hi. I also want to thank you for all the time and effort you put into this and that making the presentation understandable to people who aren't in the financial field. I mean, I found it very, very interesting. I do have another question, and it's probably a stupid question, but I'm wondering if the employees of the town, their union has hindered your being able to look into different health plans. I mean, you talked about MVP and NYSCA, but there are other health plans. I was wondering, are some reason you can't look in other ones, like, Blue Cross Blue Shield?
Right. We did a huge look. So we have NFP is our insurance broker, and we did a huge look last year at what all our options were. And we did make some changes. We added a high deductible plan with MVP. It remains to be seen which employees will choose which plan, which is one of the uncertainties, right? This budget, we almost always adopt the annual budget before we have a clear sense of which employees are choosing which plan and what final rates are from NISHIP. So it's always needs to be adjusted. But we feel like we've chosen a high deductible plan, a regular EPO plan, and NISHIP. A lot of town employees are very loyal to NISHIP. It's portable. It's a New York State program. It's a challenge in certain ways in terms of getting information and also costs. But I don't think it's a union or non-union issue. I think it's we'll keep trying to provide the best mix. But after talking with NFP, we talked about the possibility of looking at other options this year, and there's just nothing out there that's going to be cheaper. Nobody's really even offering. The insurance companies are hunkered down, and there's not anything out there that looks like it would make sense to add to the mix, financially or otherwise. So what we got in place last year I think is what so far we were recommended to go forward with. So thanks.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, everyone, and I look forward to the conversations between now and November 19th. I move that we adjourn at 8:10 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The resolution carries 7-0. Have a great night. Thank you.